It started late in the evening. I sat at my desk long after dinner staring at the same line in my notebook for 20 minutes. The decision in front of me was whether to accept an extra project that promised visibility but not much reward. I had gone in circles all week writing pros and cons, talking to my husband, and still was not sure. That night, the house was quiet. I pulled the chair closer, opened a blank page, and wrote one sentence at the top. What should I do about the new project? Then I set a timer for 10 minutes. I decided to keep my pen moving no matter what came out. The first few lines were nonsense. Bits of work complaints, old phrases, things I'd said to myself earlier that day. Around minute 5, my hand began to speed up. The words turned blunt and practical. You already know this is the corporate world. You have dealt with it for years. It won't grow you. Let it pass. This means just more work, no reward, and you know it. I looked at the clock. 8 minutes in. When the timer rang, I stopped. I didn't feel enlightened, just quieter. I folded the paper and left it on my desk. The next morning, I reread it before work. The same words hit differently, cold but obvious. I sent a polite decline before lunch. By the next day, the tension that had hovered around the choice was gone. It wasn't magic. It was the relief of seeing my own thinking on paper without the noise of back and forth debate. That was my first honest round of automatic writing. Automatic writing is the act of writing continuously without conscious control or judgment, usually in response to a clear question or focus. It's a tool for clearing cluttered thinking by giving words to what is half-formed but present. When done correctly, the page becomes a snapshot of unfiltered reasoning, sometimes blunt, sometimes offbeat, but often more honest than planned writing. It's simply a low-resistance way of letting the quieter parts of your reasoning speak before your logic reasserts itself. Think of it as handwriting that listens before it argues. People have used this practice in many ways across different decades. In early circles of psychology, some writers kept long journals of unfiltered text, later analyzing patterns and emotional responses from what they had written. Others treated it as a problem-solving exercise, posing a question, then writing without pause to see what surfaced. Artists used it to unblock ideas. Professionals used it to reflect before meetings. The name automatic writing once carried a strange reputation, but over time it quietly merged with journaling, morning pages, and structured note-taking. Regardless of the label, the behavior stayed the same. Sit, focus, write faster than your thoughts, and review later. The process itself is plain and repeatable. Choose a quiet spot where you won't be interrupted for 15 minutes. You don't need candlelight or rituals. A kitchen table works as well as a desk. Bring a pen and paper. The hand-to-page motion matters because it slows you down just enough to feel the words forming. Start by writing one clear question at the top. Make it narrow and specific. What's the best next step for this task? Or how can I handle that meeting tomorrow? Avoid vague or open questions. The narrower the focus, the clearer the result. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Close your eyes for a moment, take one full breath, then begin writing without lifting the pen. The rule is simple. Do not stop moving your hand. Even if you don't know what to say, write, "I don't know what to write," until the next line forms. The key is continuity. You're not trying to be precise. You're trying to outrun the conscious mind. If you catch yourself pausing to think, remind yourself, keep the hand moving. When the timer ends, stop. Put the pen down. Do not read it right away. Fold the page or set it aside. The next day, read what you wrote once, without analyzing tone or grammar. Look for phrases that sound direct or repeated ideas that make sense in hindsight. Sometimes you'll find a clear answer between sentences. Other times the writing will be scattered. That's fine. The value lies in the act itself, clearing a path between scattered thoughts and written language. In work settings, automatic writing can strip away the noise of competing options. I once used it before leading a project meeting that had turned heavy. The night before, I asked on paper, what do I actually need from this meeting? 10 minutes later, the pages showed blunt answers I hadn't been willing to voice. I realized I didn't need to prove anything. I needed 2 specific decisions and a clear next step. That realization shaped the entire agenda. The meeting ran 20 minutes shorter than planned and ended without tension. The writing didn't make the outcome perfect, but it clarified where to aim. Creative work benefits even more. Before drafting a blog, I'll ask, what's this really about? And write fast, unfiltered lines until the real subject emerges. Usually the first few minutes are surface-level ideas, then something appears, a sentence that belongs in the finished draft. By turning the subconscious chatter into visible text, I don't waste hours circling structure later. To test it yourself tonight, try this. Set aside 10 minutes before bed. Bring a notebook and a pen. At the top of the page, write 1 question about tomorrow. Something you can act on, like, what deserves my attention first thing in the morning? Set a timer for 10 minutes. Start writing immediately and don't stop. Keep the pen moving even if you repeat words. When the timer rings, stop mid-sentence if needed. Close the notebook and leave it untouched until morning. When you wake, read it once. Circle any sentence that feels useful, then pick 1 small action based on that. That's it. You've completed a full round. For longer use, track the practice for 1 week. Label each page by date and topic. Keep the session short, 10 minutes only. The goal is to build rhythm. Each day, extract 1 small action from the page. It might be a phrase like ask for clarity, or send a draft, or rest. Write that action on a separate sticky note and post it where you'll see it. At the end of the week, review whether your decisions felt smoother or faster. You're measuring how often choices get resolved without repeated mental debate. If that happens even slightly more often, the practice is working. Automatic writing is powerful because it externalizes loops of thought that otherwise repeat silently. But it has limits. It won't replace careful research. It's not a shortcut to expertise. Mixing topics in 1 session also dulls the outcome. Don't jump from a work problem to a personal worry in the same round. Treat each question like a separate file. If you have several on your mind, schedule different sessions. 10 minutes in the morning for one, 10 at night for another. The practice works best in focused lanes. Some people grow frustrated when their writing seems repetitive. That's normal. Repetition often means you're circling an unresolved theme. Keep going until the pattern shifts. Over time, you'll see how the act of writing burns through noise to reach a line or 2 of clarity. When that happens, stop. Don't over-explain it. Trust the first clear thought that feels steady rather than dramatic. Automatic writing also works better when paired with rest. Tired brains produce shallow results. If you notice the words turning mechanical, take a break for a day or two. The practice should feel light, not forced. The real gain is not in what appears on the page, but in what happens afterward, the small, confident actions that follow. After a week of steady pages, you'll notice subtle changes. You'll hesitate less when making small decisions. You'll write emails faster. You'll walk into meetings with a clearer sense of purpose. You'll stop rehearsing conversations that never happen. Your handwriting may even change slightly, loosening as your mind learns to release control. These are signals that the internal editor is stepping aside just long enough for intuition and logic to meet halfway. Remember, automatic writing isn't a magic formula. Some days you'll produce pure nonsense. Other days, something brilliant will surface. The point is the process, not perfection. So next time you're feeling stuck or stressed, grab a notebook, relax, and let your pen move. It costs nothing, and those random words might lead to the clarity or idea you've been waiting for. Happy writing. Just let go and see what happens.